Yeah, first of all, thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate all the media coverage, especially our local news channels. It means a lot to us, really does, in Grand Rapids areas and here in Kalamazoo and surrounding areas. It really does. It means a ton to us. It means a ton to our players as we continue to go through the season, and the exposure that you continue to give us never goes overlooked at all. I want you to make sure you all understand that. Whether you write something really good, whether you don't write something good about me or something, it all is appreciated, just the coverage that we truly have. So first and foremost, just want to thank Kalamazoo. I want to thank our university, Dr. Dunn, Kathy Beauregard, everybody involved. I want to thank our entire community for the turnout at College Game Day. I've gotten a lot of feedback from the game day people, and they were shocked at how special it really was. I even think they didn't know how elite of a time they were going to have, and then especially when the snow happened, but that even made it more magical. It was perfect. From 5 in the morning, guys, all the way to midnight to the end of the day. I don't think anything could have been better. Possibly, food dance, not going up there with a Michigan hat could have been better. I promise you I probably won't be eating there very much. But other than that, everything was elite and outstanding. To be honest with you, it was perfect. And I just want to thank the entire community for all your support and all the things that you did. I know there were so many more people involved in that. We just had to worry about the football game. Everybody else had to worry about everything else. And I just want to thank our entire university and our town and our city for showing the strength and the courage of Kalamazoo. This is a very, very special community. Everybody's rowing the boat, and it just shows how powerful of a force in a community we can have if everybody has their oar in the water, everybody believes in the same vision, whether you like football or not, but at least you understand the vision. If everybody's rowing in the same way, same speed, same efficiency, everybody has each other's back, everybody's serving and giving, how powerful that really is. So do want to thank everybody. It was a very special day, very historic. I think probably the most memorable day in Kalamazoo history, as long as I've been around. I know that. And just listening to other people, I think people feel the same way. In terms of the football game, you don't want to be the people that lose it and have this wonderful memory all up until about 3:30 to 6, and then you don't want to talk about it, and then you enjoy the night. It was perfect. 38-0 victory over Buffalo. We got to give Lance Leipold and his team a lot of credit. They're a really good football team. Probably didn't play their best football for the first 5 drives on offense. We didn't play our best football. But again, finding a way to win 38-0 in the conditions that were there, and to have all the pressure and all the expectations. End game day, I thought our players really showed a ton of resolve and commitment to the process, and I'm very proud of them. Now, a lot of individual performances, a lot of records went down, and a lot of things out there about our players, which is well-deserving, because this whole thing is about them, it's about our coaching staff, and it's about our community. So I'm very proud of everybody, and we got a very, very tough opponent coming ahead. Jason Candle's one of the best offensive minds in the game, really, really talented football coach. Toledo's got an incredible culture. It doesn't matter who comes in as their next head coach. They seem to just have 9-10 wins every single year, continue to be in the MAC West race, and just continue to reload, right? And that's a traditional powerhouse in our league. And I don't know if we're a traditional powerhouse just yet. We've got a lot of years before that actually happens. But you got to give him and his team a lot of credit. It is a spitting image of each other. They got 3 receivers, we got 3 receivers. They got a quarterback, we got a quarterback. They got running backs, we got running backs. Their offensive line's talented, our offensive line's talented. They got a tight end, we got a tight end. Look at their defense, same style defense. When you kind of look at it across the board, they've got a lot of the same players. They're probably the best team we played all year, and you got to give them a lot of credit. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. It's what you want for the MAC West Championship, in my opinion. 2 of the best teams in the West playing each other. It is amazing. You're 11-0, and you still haven't wrapped up your division and your side, which is interesting, right? But that's the MAC, and we're very proud to be in it. So with that said, I'll open up for questions.
Coach, clearly they are the 2 teams mirror each other, and both teams are very talented. Where do you think that you have the edge, or where can we develop an edge? In what segments of the game?
Well, it's so tight, Al. I'll be honest with you. You're not going to necessarily know that until you actually play. They've got 10 days to prepare. We have about 5 days, 6 days to prepare. We've got a short week. And so, I think right away the preparation's an advantage, right? But we've used it as our advantage. We have kind of swung that back to our players. Our coaching staff's done a lot of preparation earlier in the last few weeks to get ready. Haven't brought it to our players, but we've had to prepare on different days leading up to this because of the short week. But it's a challenge for us, and we're going to respond to that challenge. But in terms of the actual edge, we're very similar on special teams. We're very similar on offense. We're very similar on defense, Al. It's the closest we've ever been to a team we've played all year.
Talk a little bit about this time last year. You're 6-5. You're heading to Toledo to face a nationally ranked opponent. People are worried they're going to lose this game. They're going backwards, not going forwards. Little do we know, you knock off a nationally ranked opponent, springboard into a bowl game, first bowl game victory. Now all of a sudden you're 11-0. That's just a huge jump in the past calendar year. Talk a little bit about how just kind of everything has led to this.
It's the next right step. And even look back to last year, right? I mean, we played Ohio State, Michigan State, who were 1 and 4 in the country. So even before last year, I said, hey, look, I think we have a better football team, everybody in this room. However, our record's probably not going to reflect that. You play 3 incredible opponents, a Sun Belt champ, and then 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. Plus, you're still playing sophomores and juniors. You're very young. So the record wouldn't match it. We were a better football team last year than we were the prior year before that. We're a better football team this year than we were last year. It's constant, steady growth. That's why, as a football coach, I've never focused on when you rebuild a culture and a program, I never focused on the wins and losses. I never focused on that part. It's the process of growing higher every single day, changing our best, and taking the next right step. This is the next right step, whatever that is. 11-0, I look at strictly how do we play, what can we get better on, what are the specific fundamentals and details we're not very good at, how can we continue to get our team to love each other, respect each other, come together collectively, and continue to buy in and believe in the culture that's right in front of them. That's a powerful force, very similar to what you saw at Kalamazoo on game day. That's a powerful force when you get all those people together that believe in the same vision, and that's what we've done this year. So, I'd like to be able to sit here and have all these fancy statistics for you, but we've got incredible people on our football team. We got one of the best coaching staffs in America, and we've got high character players, and we surround them with a support staff system that really loves them and get everybody else to love each other and do it for each other. And when you're not doing it for yourself and you're serving and giving all the time, special things can happen, and that's, I think, what you're seeing this year, which is not over yet. Hi, Jack.
You mentioned being 11-0, but not having wrapped up the division yet. How hungry has that kept your football team this late season?
Hungry is becoming 1-0 in the Toledo season. That's all we want to do. 1-game seasons. This one's a championship 1-game season. But if you add them up and you want to be a champion, every single week's got to be a championship game for you. And if you want to be a champion, it's got to be played like a championship. And plus, everybody's wanted a shot at us. I mean, we have the moving target on our backs. We just have to keep it moving faster and faster and faster, getting our players to be at an advantage come kickoff, whether that's health-wise, whether that's preparation-wise. So it's very important as you continue to move forward, but it's 1-game season. This game really isn't bigger or smaller than weeks in the past because when you sit there and look at it, if we don't win a few in the past, this game's not even that meaningful. It's a 1-game season. There's just a lot on the line, but there's been a lot on the line for us all year. And that expectation and pressure we've put on ourselves since January, our players are used to that. But again, we have a phenomenal football team coming to Kalamazoo, and I don't think anybody else would want it any other way.
A lot on the line is even more on the line this week, though, because of what's there if you win and what's none if you lose. How do you guys just avoid, being overwhelmed by the pressure of a game like this?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Every week there's been new pressure. I've gotten that question a lot, Jack, to be honest with you. After we were 2-0, how about the letdown? After 4-0, how about the letdown? How about 5, 6, 7, 8? Game day's coming. All the distractions. There are way more distractions on college game day than there are this week in terms of distractions. Cameras were in our face all week, including our players. But these players are prepared for those distractions. They've prepared for that type of pressure and expectation. But again, that's been kind of the motto of our entire year. Embrace the pressure, embrace the expectation, and how to be able to deal with all of that. I think our players have done a tremendous job of that. The 1-game season is what we always come back to. We've never looked farther ahead than 1 game. We've embraced our past to create our future, and we had an outstanding practice today. It's amazing that what they have to do has become what they really want to do. You've heard me say that a lot about maturity. This is a very mature group. Right? And so I think that's what's been able to help us take the next right step every single week is they understand, like you said, what's on the line. But in week 7, there was just as much on the line because if you lost that, there's no rankings, there's no talking, there's no possible MAC championship game. There's all these things. So, but yes, when you kind of get down to the end, now all of a sudden there's only 1 game left of the regular season. So it's the most important game of the year. But again, so was week 8, week 7, and week 6. But again, we have made sure that all that attention's been directed in the right way.
Coach, how much affirmation is that from you week to week when you have the pressures of different games, being on the road for 2 weeks in a row, and then having game day, and knowing that they came, the players knowing that they came out, against that team, Buffalo ahead and won, knowing that they can handle that and having that, they've won every week, having that affirmation like, we dealt with this, what coach is saying is true, what he prepared us for is true. How much does that build?
Well, I think it just brings validity to your process, right? We're process. Every single day there's new challenges, and you have to be able to change your best. There's going to be new distractions thrown at you. There's going to be new things that put a ton of expectation and pressure on you every single day. But we've done that since day one we walked in this facility. We have put a ton amount of pressure and expectation applied to our players in everything they do, from their academics to their football to their personal life, spiritual life, social life. Wait till you see the grades that come out. I'm not predicting this, but just wait till you see the grade point average come out this year. And you watch how that's continued to grow higher. Everything they've done, they've changed their best. They're serving and giving. Our players just raised $500 to be able to provide T-shirts, sweatshirts, underwear, socks for people that can't afford that. They did that on their own. They just did that yesterday. They got together, said we need to be able to serve and give these people. That's our community. That's our players. So we have served way more than we have in the past. Same thing. Now it's a direct correlation when you talk about football. What do we have to do, Coach, to get this win? What do we have to do to be 1-0? What's the next step of our process? But it's up to me to be able to come up with those things. Not like, oh, yeah, same thing we did last week. That's not true. That's not good enough anymore, right? You've got to really dial in and direct your energy towards a focus every single week so they can relate to it and they can focus on it and pinpoint exactly how they're going to be able to do it. Doesn't guarantee you anything, but it gives you the best chance to be successful.
Coach, I've been around you long enough to know that you only worry about those things that you can control.
Perfect. Next question.
But the elephant in the room, though, the Boise State jumping you in the playoff, my question, I guess, is that you will, if you win out, do you think that there's any chance that you should not go to a New Year's Six game?
We have to take care of Toledo, period. That is the only thing we're focused on, Al.
So you won't be watching Wyoming, New Mexico?
Al, I haven't watched one Mountain West game all year long, I promise you. That doesn't interest me because it's insignificant. All there is dead airspace that we have to fill between Saturday and Saturdays. Dead airspace. So let's talk about different things. Let's have this team jump that. So it talks about, so you can ask that question in my press conference and we can take time talking about it. It has zero significance until everything's done. At the end of championship week, it's done. We'll answer any question you possibly want when we know all the information. Until then, that is not our focus. It is not our focus. So we have to become 1-0 in the Toledo season because it's the most important week of the season because it's the next.
How much significance do you think last year, what you guys did to Toledo last year?
Yeah, Jack, zero, to be honest with you. Anything that happened last year has zero significance for this year. New team, new stadium you're coming into, new congruency between the team, new coaching staff on the other team. There's no outside factors. In streaks are just, in my opinion, just an excuse to sit there and say, yeah, we have an advantage, right? Or a disadvantage, or to play with a crack on your shoulder, or to play to overconfident. Really, that's all that means. This year is the only thing that matters. Every team we've played has zero significance from the year prior, and we've taken one program, one team at a time, and focused directly on how this team can beat or be in the best position to beat that team based on our preparation. That's all we can really look at, Jack, to be honest with you. That's all we focus on.
Coach, game day was here last week, and with all due respect to Buffalo, this is the game they should be here for. When you look at the two football teams that have played, yourself and Toledo, are you okay with the fact that distraction is now in the past and you can just kind of focus on football this week?
Sure. Yeah, we focused on football last week. It's just part of the job. You've got to make it all work, right? Whether you're a player in Division 1A and you're having success, or whether you're a coach or a position coach, with success comes attention. And that's part of the growth process inside our program, teaching these young people how to deal with expectation, pressure, attention, and give them that leather skin, that confidence to be able to handle that the rest of their life. Because if you do want to do something significant, you're going to have attention drawn to it. And when you have that, learning how to respond to adversity is just as hard, right? Just as hard as being able to learn and respond to success. And that's got to be taught by us. So it's a constant growth movement in our program, and we're constantly teaching. But it is nice to be able to truly focus just on football, have the press conference, be able to tell Rob, anybody that calls, tell them to come to the presser, right? Because if you didn't get enough from game day, you know, these national media people, you didn't get enough from game day, I don't know what else. I'm going to be a broken record. I mean, we pretty much gave game day pretty much everything in our program, right? So, but again, I hope that answers your question. You know, we're focused on this week, and that's all we can do. But again, it's every week has its own challenges.
Coach, it seemed like you were trying to get number 84 the ball last week a lot, and obviously it's no secret that he's closing in on the national record. Will we see anything to try to get him the ball? I know the win is the most important thing for the team, but I know that record's kind of important for you to get for him.
You might see him a tailback here and there. Maybe quarterback, right? Maybe rush end. Just saying. We got some special things planned. Got that, Corey? I will say this. First and foremost, I think he's the best wide receiver I've ever coached at the collegiate level. And that's not just in terms of his performance and his result. It's the process of how he got there. Starts back in his childhood, what he was able to handle when he got to high school and all the adversity he had, offering him a scholarship when nobody else was doing that, the risk we took, the risk he took, and watching that young man continue to progress. Now, this young man has 1,200 yards. He is 19 yards away from breaking the all-time FBS receiving yardage record. He shattered every MAC record there is. He shattered every WMU record there is. He has kept his nose clean for 4 years consecutively. He is, I think, the best and probably most dynamic receiver in the top 5 all-time in our league. And somehow he gets left off the Blitnikoff Award semifinalist list somehow, some way or something. Shocked. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand that. I'm not a big award person, but I know that young man deserves that. That's no disrespect to anybody that's on. There's phenomenal receivers on that. I just don't know how that happens. You're talking about maybe the greatest receiver of all time in the history of NCAA football statistically and all the things he's done to make a football team from one. You talk about what I get attention for one. I should get 0 attention for 1-11 and to 11-0. 0. That has nothing to do with me. What it has to do with Corey Davis. He came in at 1-11, and now he's 11-0. That's him. That's Zach Terrell. That's Taylor Moton. You know, that's Jarvion Franklin and Jamari Bogan and Robert Spillane. That's them. So when anybody asks me a question about my players and the type of players we have, I'm going to defend them 100%. And they'll never talk about it because they don't like to talk about it. They're probably not allowed to talk about it too much. It's all about our team. But when you talk individual things and guys getting – it just blows my mind. A receiver like him gets left off that. I don't understand that. And but hey, you're going to see a lot of things that in the future with that young man here as long as he's at Western Michigan. So.
Can you talk a little bit about Woodside, please?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's a spitting image of Zach Terrell on the field. Very, very high completion percentage, very poised in the pocket, incredible leader. The team goes how he goes. Very similar to us. He can move in the pocket. He steps up. He feels pressure very well, and he is very accurate. And he's a competitor, and he's tough. So you put all those things together, you have a quarterback that's obviously having the season he has, and I have a coach like Jason Candle guiding him to do that and putting him in all the positions, plus having the weapons around him. It's a recipe for success.
Does that help you prepare then, seeing he's similar to Zach in that you guys see Zach every day in practice from a defensive standpoint?
Oh, yeah. I think that, because Zach doesn't really throw too much during the scout periods to our defense. Our scout team quarterback plays Woodside, but, I think all year it's helped just in spring ball and different things. But Zach's a special player, too, and he's incredibly accurate in what he can do for our football team. But, again, they're very, very similar type quarterbacks, the closest we've ever played to what we actually have in all areas. It's crazy. It's not just quarterbacks, not just wide. I'm not just saying those things. It is the closest we've played to our own football team.
Coach, you've had some really good wins over the last few weeks and the whole season for sure. But the last handful, you've come out a little slow, a little challenged. Like you said, first quarter wasn't your favorite this past week. Unfair to characterize your team as a second-half team or from an offensive standpoint, or is it?
We have to do what we have to do to win the football game. Again, we get everybody's A-plus effort, an A-plus shot. And there's a lot of things people make adjustments to, especially within the first quarter, that you've got to be able to figure out. It's a Rubik's Cube. It's a chess game, especially at the beginning. And there's might be all types of new things you've seen that have taken away some of the things you're doing in your game plan. You got to adjust to that. I will say this, the strength of our football team is our coaching staff adjusting to different things. I really believe that. But I'm not into the whole, I don't know what we beat opponents by on average, but, there was a time ago we would celebrate just winning by 16, and everybody in here take a big deep breath and be like, oh, thank goodness we won. Now we're at the point now we're not winning by enough. That's okay. I understand that, but you got to give credit to the other defenses too. But the first 4 possessions was the ball for us. We put the ball on the ground, we dropped the ball, but once we calmed down, got that thing going. Again, 18 to 22-year-olds, you never know what you're really going to get when they hit the field. But when they settle down, they keep their oar in the water. They're a very poised football team. I would call us more poised than anything. There's going to be a lot of adversity thrown your way. There's going to be a lot of good things thrown your way. It's how you respond to those things, your perspective of it as it's happening, and then your response to it after it happens. That's critical as you move forward as a football team. And I'm proud of our guys. So, we had to do what we had to do to win the football game, and we won by 38 points. And they played really good defense and did some things that got us out of our rhythm in the first half. That's credit to those guys. Credit to Lance and his staff.
Are you preaching to start faster, and how do you start faster?
Well, start fast, finish strong. Start fast, accelerate in the middle, finish strong is part of our Bronconese anyway. So just sometimes you do it and sometimes you don't do it, right? We only scored, I think, 22 points at Northwestern. That was good enough to win that football game. And there's going to be a lot of times that those types of things come up. What is it going to take to win the football game, and how are we going to get there to do it? We're not perfect. No team in the country is perfect. Your record might be flawless, but you're not a perfect team. You look at Alabama. It's Alabama. It's 3-0 Chattanooga in the middle of the second quarter. It's football. That's why we love the game. That's why we love the pressure and the expectation and the excitement and the upsets. And it's 18 to 22-year-olds playing a game, right, and really growing in their own personal life and in their football life. They're learning so much. But yes, to answer your question, Jack, yeah, you'd love to start fast and accelerate in the middle and finish strong every game. Just be like, well, that was easy. That was fun. That's not how it always works, because you have a counterpart on the other side that wants to do the same thing, and they're well coached as well.
PJ, a lot of the accolades go to the offense this year with Jeremy and Zach and Corey, but the defense has probably been the biggest turnaround on this team from last year. 2 shutouts with Keon Adams, just a mismatch out there on Saturday. So just got to talk about the defense.
Yeah, Ed Pinkham is an absolute genius of a defensive football coach, putting our players in the best position to be successful. Same thing. There's times we don't shut somebody out, right? Or they score on different plays. You got to give those people credit for doing that. We're not perfect on defense either. But I will say we're kind of like the no-name, we call it the how fence, right? And the no-name how fence over there. We have names, but all the prototypical, Corey Davis, Zach Terrells, those are Jarvions, everybody knows those on offense. The defense of Keon Adams, Keon Adams is up there in the tackles for loss in the country, and you watch him come off that edge, guys. There's not many people in the country that come off the edge like he does. Robert Spillane quietly usually has like 14 to 15 tackles, right? And just one of those, his grandfather won the Heisman Trophy, for goodness sake, right? He's just one of those blue-collar football players. Darius Phillips, one of the best corners in the country, in my opinion. And you kind of add those guys all together, and we've had 2 shutouts this year. I'm not sure when the last time we had a shutout. 2000. Now we have 2 of them. All right, so 16 years since our last one. Now we have 2. So you talk about Ed Pinkham, and you talk about Jimmy Williams and David Duggan, our defensive staff, our defensive GAs. That's a credit to those guys. And the belief system of our culture that's not only on the offense and special teams, but also our defense. It encompasses everybody. But that doesn't mean all the time, Corey, that they're going to have shutout after shutout. Oh, they scored 3 points. What happened? Right? We're playing one of the best, if not the best offense in our league statistically. Maybe statistically even better than us. Right? So, this is a challenge for everybody, and this is what you want. You want to play the best at the end of the season for the best reward.
PJ, David Pollock said that when he watches film of your defense, it's everyone doing their job, and he can tell that everyone on defense buys in. He said he can tell that everyone is playing for the team and not for themselves. From a football standpoint, is that the biggest compliment that someone can give?
100%. That it's not about you. It's family. Forget about me. I love you. If you can watch our film and you watch people playing selflessly, that's critical. That means we're doing our job as coaches. that means everybody's buying into the secret sauce. You know, that's why that's our culture. It's not about you. It's how you can influence and affect everybody else. We just showed them a video of today of 5 elite plays that everybody was high-fiving, chest bumping, fist bumping for each other. Same 5 plays were made in different games, and nobody did it. And you talk about the energy and the perspective and the excitement and the passion and the pride you play with defense and the emotion you play with defense. And then you show the same plays with no emotion. Like, what's the difference? What happened in these? Right? How did we get out of our character? How did we get out of our culture? What took us out of our culture? What circumstance dictated our behavior here? Because we're not allowed to let circumstance dictate our behavior. It's all about our culture. And whether that's offense, defense, or special teams, everybody's held accountable for that, first and foremost. And then we get into their job. Because more than likely on defense, you can almost not do your job at times. And if you're playing as hard as you possibly can, for as long as you can still find a way to make the play. So it can make up for a lot of errors, how hard you play. So, yes, that would be a tremendous compliment to Coach Pinkham and our defense and all the defensive players. You got it. Row the boat.